Hello students, this is Abhishek Manglik and I am going to deliver a very short lecture on the topic functions. So we are talking about functions in Python. So what basically is function? Now see, function is basically it is an object, or you can say it is a feature which is included in the modern day languages. The modern day languages, it implements the concept of object oriented programming. Now what is an object oriented programming? Object oriented programming, it is based on five features, namely data encapsulation, data abstraction, polymorphism, modularity, and inheritance. Now, apart from all the other four factors, we are uh, now considering only data uh, modularity. So, modularity is a concept in which a large number of or lines of code is divided into smaller modules, and they are known as functions. So modularity concept is implemented with the help of function. Now what actually is the function? A function is a programming block of codes which is used to perform a single related task. See, usually a function that we define is a single tasking function. Okay, every function has a particular task to perform, and this function is working as and when we invoke the function, or we can say in technical language we call the function. So when we call the function, it is invoked, it is executed by the interpreter or the compiler, and then it gives the output. Now functions has some you can say syntaxes. Syntaxes means it has some keywords, it has some name, it has some parameters. Parameters are the inputs which are provided by the user. Now the user of the program, it always gives the inputs, because suppose a function is there to calculate the area of a circle. So for area of a circle, if you are not given the radius, then you won't be able to calculate the area. So similarly, parameters are the requirements, prerequisites to execute a function. Now functions are now, first we'll discuss the advantages of functions. Program development make easy and fast. See, every program, when we talk about software development, so when we in the software development, the software consists of many you can say lines of codes. So when you have many lines of codes, then when while checking for the errors in the code, it is very difficult to identify the errors. So what we do is we break the lines of codes into smaller modules as functions, and then we examine or check for errors with each function. So that makes the development and the uh, you know debugging of the program faster. Program testing becomes easy. So when the modules are pre-tested before execution, they are tested that they are not having any sort of errors or bugs, then of course the testing of the program becomes faster. Code sharing becomes possible. And then what you can do is you can include a particular function in other programs or other software also, if uh, if the software is compatible with the line of codes, if it is developed in the same language, then you can use a function which is created in other software, or you can say which was created for other software, and it could be used in the other program, other software also. Code reusability. So there is another term, you know, code reusability. Reusability means, suppose if you are making a program to calculate square of a number. So for every number you need a square, you need to develop a different program. So rather than, why not develop a program which is capable of squaring any number, and we can make such a module which just we need to pass the number from the user, and it gives the square of the number. So we need not make the same program again and again for different numbers. So that is the capability of using the code again and again. Increases program readability. When something is broken down into smaller things, like in English you have a large chapter which is broken down into passages, or you can say paragraphs. So when it is into paragraphs, then it is easier to read them and interpret them. So same way, when a large program is broken down into smaller paragraph, then they become readable and understandable. Function facilitates procedural abstraction. This is a little bit, you can say a complex term. You can say this means that when you use functions, uh, you are just using the function name. You are not accessing the code. You are not doing anything to access the code. You are not copying and pasting the original code of the function from its library to your program. You just need to call the function. That's it. You have to need the you have to call the function name. That's it. Function facilitate factoring of code. Factorization means to break something into smaller parts. That is factorization. That is similar. A large program is broken down into smaller parts. Now, types of functions. Now, there are different types of functions. There are different types of functions, depending on the language it supports. First is the minor functions, or the commonly used functions that are known as built-in function, or undefined or predefined functions, which are available in the programming libraries. These functions, you just need to call the library from which the function is there. Like suppose, for example, if I say, if you need to calculate the square root of a function, then you are just using the function sqrt. Or you need to calculate power of a function of a number, then you just need to call the function pow, and include the library from in which it is available, that is math. So these functions are predefined functions which are used in the programs, and they are predefined functions. Now, functions defined in module. Now these are the functions which are defined in a function, in modules, in various modules. Like you can create your own modules, like you have libraries. Similarly, you can create your own library of functions. So these are the functions. Then you have user defined functions. User defined functions are functions which are specifically defined for a particular program. Okay, so when you need to achieve a particular task, and then you are not defining generic functions, rather than you are defining functions according to what is required in your program. So they are known as user defined functions. Now some of the common examples which we use in Python, some of the functions are length. Suppose you need to calculate the length of a particular data type. List is a function which is used to convert some other data type into a list data type. Then max function to calculate max from a given number of sequence. Then min is again a function which is used to calculate the minimum number to find out the minimum number from a sequence. Open to open a file, then you have print to display it on the screen, then you have str to convert it into a string, then you have sum function to calculate the sum of all the elements in a sequence, then you have the type function to know about the data type of a particular value, and then you have the tuple. Tuple is again a data type which is used in Python. So when you need to convert a list into tuple or a string into tuple, then you use the function tuple. So I'll keep my lecture short here. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much.